Right then, my friends, it's an absolutely sweltering day, so I think we should have a dip in the canal. A dip in the canal. That's what passes as humour around here. Hello there folks, I'm Dan Brown from sortofinteresting.com. You're joining me just about on board good old narrowboat Abel's Ark, and well, we've got a lot to talk about. We're back out on the canal, as you can probably see. Let's take a walk. We have got so much footage to cram into this video. It's going to be about 5 hours long, not literally. Right, I'm going to duck in and whoop, nearly went in then. And let's get stuck into the video. So we're currently moored up just around the corner from the Frankton Locks, which is another one of the places that I used to love to spend a week or two as I was passing by on good old narrowboat Tilly in years gone by. And I'm just basically out enjoying a couple of weeks on the canal, revisiting these old classic mooring spots that I used to love spending time at. And I cannot explain to you. I thought it was great being back on the boat when I first bought it and first spent my first week on board, my first month on board, my first night on board, and it was all beautiful, wonderful experiences. But honestly, I can't tell you now, actually getting out back to some of these places that I've loved for so long and spent so many happy weeks moored up here in years gone by, it's just fantastic to be back. So let's start at the beginning of my little trip out of the marina and returning to the canals. The theme of this video is very much me going, "Oh, look at this is lovely scenery, it's so good to be back." And well, I can't really build on that much, it is just fantastic to be back. As you can see here, this is me steadily backing out of my space at Ellesmere Marina, and then in a moment we're going to speed up the footage 8 times and zip our way out and about onto the canals. And the first trip, this one that we're on now, is just going to take us around a few corners down to Tetchell, about a 50-minute boat ride or so, and that's very slow boating. As many of you know, on narrowboat Tilly I was a very slow boater. Well, I think it sums it up to say that the footage you're seeing here is 8 times, that's 8 times faster than the actual speed that I was travelling. And you'll see here, bang, I still managed to hit the side on the exit, on both sides as well. But really, I just wanted to share this footage with you, as I had previously, when I bought Abel's Ark about a month or so ago at this point, I just took a very short trip to spend a couple of nights on board just around the corner from the marina at Ellesmere before diving back into the marina to get on top of a load of odd jobs that seriously needed to get sorted. But ultimately, this time, I'm out for a couple of weeks. I'm going to return. I need a couple of jobs doing, and I'll be getting Abel's Ark out of the water in the near future as well, which we'll talk about later in this video. But as I say, I just wanted to start and open with this little sort of video diary of the last few days coming out of the marina, back onto the canal, all sorts of different weather conditions that I've faced. Bought a new bike, the difference that's already going to make to my boat life going forwards. There's loads to talk about, but ultimately, let's just enjoy this footage and let's just, well, revel and bask in the absolutely beautiful scenery that, well, I've been so incredibly lucky to be able to return to. So this is leaving Ellesmere Services after emptying a toilet tank. Very glamorous element of boat life. I'm sure you're all very interested to know the details of that. We are about to zip into 8 times the actual travelling speed here, and you can see once again at 8 times the speed this still looks pretty slow, but ultimately what a fantastic way to travel and just enjoy being out in the countryside with a friend. Well, my friends, this is a brilliant experience, it's got to be said. Compared to good old narrowboat Tilly, who I love so dearly, as many of you know, but being able to be sat up here under the front cover here, we've barely got any engine noise, just got a few rattles in the boat really, rather than the engine itself. And of course, we've got our seats, we can have the covers up and just be out here. Beautiful sunny day, again, absolutely sweltering hot. Got to do about 9 miles on my bike after, so it's going to be fun in the sun. But in all honesty, let's look at this, absolutely wonderful. Oh, it's so good to be back, my friends. There is somebody on the tiller though, I will say we're not in autopilot here. Absolutely wonderful. Loads of oil on the surface, so there's diesel leak, something like that maybe, somewhere upstream. Who knows? Right, so better go and see what's going on. We are about to speed up again to 8 times actual travelling speed and zip past the boats moored up at the little canal side marina at Tetchell before we moor up just the other side of the bridge from these boats. And again, just remember this is 8 times actual travelling speed, so you can start to get an idea of just how slowly we were travelling. But that's really one of the things that I love about boat life. And what I always used to say on Narrowboat Tilly, I don't mean to keep mentioning Tilly and drawing these comparisons. I'll do a proper video at some point on that topic because I know it's something that a lot of people have been asking for. But ultimately, the idea of taking it slow, and if you have to moor up early, it doesn't matter, or if you don't reach your destination, it doesn't matter because you're travelling with your home. So wherever you tie up to the side of the canal, you've only got to step back into your boat and you were already home. Or if you made good speed and ended up going further than you anticipated, again, it doesn't matter because you literally tie the ropes and then you're home. So yeah, ultimately, I've just got to say, I cannot tell you how brilliant it was to just be out on the canal, taking it easy, just enjoying nice slow boating, having a really proper good little run and explore. And me and my friend went out walking down the canal and through the fields after we'd moored up. Just absolutely wonderful. Anyway, there I am, looking happy that we've made it in one piece. Well, here you have me, my friends, without my hat on for a rare thing. I said hat in a strange way then. Got a little bit of a cold or a bit of, I don't know, hay fever or something. It's been a long time, probably about best part of 3 years since I was last stood on the roof of a boat. This exact stretch of canal here at Tetchell. What an absolutely beautiful place it is to be as well. Oh, I can't speak tonight. Yeah, so I'm just double checking me lock and everything. Just trying to knock a few bits and pieces off the outside windows. And yeah, it's, again, I mean, just listen to where we are. Got the mist starting to roll in now in the distance over the fields there. Just absolutely beautiful. Right, my friends, it's about 9:30 at night as I'm recording this, which admittedly is early to be in bed, but I've got to be up early tomorrow morning and off on my bike into Oswestry, where I'm hoping to collect a delivery of a new bike by midday. But that bike, however, was meant to be delivered today between 9 and 6, so let's hope we have more luck tomorrow with it actually turning up. As it's quite a chilly day today. It's been very overcast, very wet, damp, rainy day. We've got the fire lit just to take the edge off and just keep a little bit of heat circulating as the evening chill rolls in. You can already look out the window and see there's mist starting to form over in the distance. And again, I'm expecting it to be quite a chilly night, to be honest, and a very damp morning for cycling. But if I pan the camera around here now, I wanted to just show you this little clip here. So we're in bed now, as you can see, little feeties there. I've got my MacBook at the end of the bed there, which is connected to the internet via a mobile broadband dongle, whatever you want to call it, a hotspot, whatever you want to call it. And I've got unlimited Netflix streaming on that doesn't count towards my data usage. But the actual speed of the broadband via the 4G network from this mobile Wi-Fi thing is literally the fastest internet connection that I've had personally, faster than any actual home broadband that I've ever used. So that's just a fascinating thing, that we can be somewhere, and this is the other point. We've got a lovely, nice, calming evening thing here. We've got Jonathan Creek, a classic old British sort of murder mystery sort of programme. Bit of this modern day Sherlock Holmes thing from my early teen years, I suppose. But we can pan across, and there's our view of the canal there. That's the sort of view I've got from my eye level, just over to the bank there. And then you can see if I lean forward, you can just see the water there and the reflection of a very grey, very dull looking sky. If I zoom in over there on that tree, you can see what I say. Already you can see the mist and that starting to form. So expecting it to be very damp, everything to just be thoroughly sodden and soaked through tomorrow morning. But yeah, that's just really one of those little moments of boat life I wanted to share with you. And really to illustrate how much more homely this is than good old Narrowboat Tilly, bless her. Now, it's got to be said that waking up at 7:30 to the sound of little ducklings cheeping away at the side of the boat and all of the fun and games as they dash one way or the other as they see you appear in the window is an absolutely wonderful way to wake up. And as you can see, before I set out to run back into Oswestry to hopefully get this bike, I just had one last look to just point out the windmill zipping around there, so you can see that there's a good bit of wind blowing, as very often over the last few weeks those have been completely still. And luckily the bike actually turned up this time. I won't get into the details, just to say that Halfords gave me the wrong date, and well, again, I don't want to call anybody out on it, but it wasn't ideal. So it was a quick, well, it wasn't a quick case. It took me a few hours to put the bike together because I wanted to make sure I'd done it properly. My first carbon framed bike, loads lighter than my previous Mango bikes, which again, I absolutely love my Mango bikes, don't get me wrong, but ultimately I just wanted something that was going to be more suited to the job, for the amount of cycling that I'm doing for the foreseeable future. And this is what you won't believe. I mean, you can see here we've got these very bumpy rural roads that we're zipping down towards the boat at Tetchell here. This is the last downhill road all the way from the Brow, which is a big hill between Ellesmere and Oswestry, and this road carries on in much this very, very bumpy, very windy, narrow lane all the way down to the side of the canal to about maybe 150 foot away from where Abel's Ark was moored. But what you won't believe, and what I couldn't believe, is how much quicker I was on this bike. I really could not get my head around this. So the previous night, with a lighter bag and no wind, it took me 34 minutes to do that ride. On the new bike, it took me 26 minutes, and that was after I'd been to Burger King only about half an hour or so before hopping on my bike, with a heavier backpack than the previous night, and with an actual bit of wind blowing against me almost the entire way. So to knock 8 minutes off the time with worse conditions, I just was absolutely blown away, and it made me think, why on earth didn't I buy a bike like this years ago? And again, it would have saved me literally hours of travelling time and made the travelling to and from Narrowboat Tilly over the long distances that I used to cycle so much easier. But anyway, I was so overjoyed by it that as I was sat on board in the evening, you can see here, I couldn't resist getting back out on the bike and going wild and having another last sort of 5-mile trip around, snipped down the roads to Ellesmere and back. So ultimately, yes, I'm very pleased with my new bike. I decided to go in and spend the extra money on a bike that I really wanted, that would hopefully make the difference, which again, I never imagined how much of a difference it would make, as I've put back my plans for getting a car, and I'm still going to learn to drive pretty soon, but my actual plans to buy a car are put off until after the boat is out of the water and we know what's going on below the waterline. So this is just a few bits of footage from earlier today that I wanted to share with you. So you can see there the misty conditions in which we set out boating. By the time we had moored up, we being me and my two friends and their little son, who thoroughly enjoyed his first proper boat trip, which again, it was chaos, it was great fun, and certainly makes you feel old. But ultimately, I just wanted to throw in these little bits of footage here as I tried an actual head camera. Like literally, this is filmed almost exactly from my eye view, maybe the centre of my forehead basically. The footage isn't great. It's not exactly what I wanted it to be. I think the camera was aimed a little bit too high, but it's just something I wanted to see what your opinion would be, really. How do you feel about this sort of footage? I think that if I'd have kept my head a little bit steadier and, as I say, had the camera pointing down a little bit, it would have turned out a lot better. But what I just want to draw attention to is, again, here, is how grey and overcast and wet and damp and a little bit of drizzle there was in the air. And yet, amazingly, as you saw at the opening of this video, it was an absolutely beautiful, sunny, bright, beaming day by the time that I was moored up and my friends had gone home. And again, well, we'll see how the weather turns out towards the end of this video. Now, I know this video hasn't particularly flowed very well, or so certainly it hasn't turned out to be the video that I wanted it to be. But ultimately, I suppose that really does reflect how life has been recently. I'm sitting down trying to sort out the notes and the beginnings of my next Narrowboat Life book about the return to the canals and all that. There's obviously been sorting out the last of the bits and pieces from the flat, obviously sorting out the boat itself, and of course doing my actual proper job at a supermarket. So there's a lot going on. Now here at Frankton, rather than the exact spot I'm currently moored in where the mooring rings are on the temporary moorings, where I used to spend maybe a week or so, is just on this straight part here. And it was just so nice being able to have all of that open space and nothing sort of blocking your view of the sky at night. And again, along here there's a lot of little footpaths that cross over into the fields over in this direction. And again, well, all the lane goes up to the main road where you can then get to Ellesmere or Oswestry over there. But there's that many paths that crisscross through all of these fields, and as many of you may know from my previous hundreds of boat videos with Narrowboat Tilly, there's an awful lot of these fields for an awful lot of miles around in this area. And I don't know, I've always just loved this area. I've always loved, though, like at St Martin's just up the way, I've always loved having like flat sort of fields opposite, so it makes it feel really open, I suppose, rather than in some places where you've got trees on either side of the canal, like at the back of Chirk Tunnel, where you almost feel like you're living in a tunnel if you're moored up there for too long. Get cabin fever, I suppose. Well, this, my friends, is how quickly the weather can change. We had the misty morning, then we had the absolutely beautiful afternoon as we'd moored up and had this incredible burst of sunshine, which, as you can probably tell, even as I'm saying, the sun is starting to peek out and light up the towpath as we look into the distance here. But between the sun and the mist and all the rest of it, it's started raining, there's been rumbles of thunder, so I really would not like to say what the weather is going to be like for the next couple of hours. Right, time to edit this video, I suppose. Let's take a moment to just enjoy being under the cover here with a little bit of rain tapping on our very flimsy roof. If we pan around, you'll see we've got not much rain on these windows, spoiling the effect. But we've got a holiday boat just coming up the canal towards us. There's just something nice about being cosy and tucked away on a boat while it's raining outside. If it was a little bit chillier, we could have a smoky chimney there going and complete the sort of romantic, stereotypical narrowboat life image. Lovely stuff. Oh, we have our boat coming past. Right then, I really must sit down and edit this video. There's a million clips to get through. And ironically, you'll have probably seen most of the video while this is playing. Right then, my friends, thank you so much for tuning in. Who knows how long the final edit of this video turned out to be, as at the minute it hasn't been edited, so I can't say for certain, but I'm quite sure it's probably about time that it came to a close. So I'll say the usual things. Feel free to check out my other videos. There's literally hundreds of videos about boat life from my other narrowboat that I used to live on, and all sorts of other stuff, documentaries and things like that about life out here on the canals. Please do consider checking out my short books available for the Kindle, and also a little paperback that's a collection of some of my shorter boat life books in one volume. Really does mean a lot to me, really does genuinely help me out, so thank you for all those of you who've been reading and helping spread the word. Typical, we've got a plane going over the top of us. First one I've heard while I've been out walking, just to interrupt the end of this video. And of course, links in the description to my Amazon page and all that. And as well, feel free to add me on Facebook and Twitter and Snapchat and Tumblr and Instagram and Pinterest and anything else that you'd like to add me on. Feel free, go mad, go wild, add me on everything. Loads of links in the description, but really, until the next time, my friends, have an absolutely fantastic day. My arm's getting really tired, so we're struggling to keep the camera straight here, so just have a fantastic day. I will see you around soon. Till the next time, my friends, keep it interesting, keep it boat worthy, and of course, farewell.